All I'm saying is I can leak some DMs that can say some other things. So I'm just...
I'm a bot. I prefer not to think for myself and let the smart people figure it out. Pick those heroes, profit.
You're like a monkey, and you have to full monkey it.
Yeah, I want to say, Rhino, I hope you're doing okay. I hope that pub wasn't too tough on you.
Hello everybody, and welcome to another fine late night edition of Mine for the Game, a Dota 2 podcast. The theme of this week's episode is accountability, guys. I'm holding everyone accountable here and forcing them at gunpoint to record this podcast, or else this episode will never, ever get out there.
Chev is at actual gunpoint.
Despite Chev's whining, we're forcing him to do this podcast at 10:35 p.m.
These guys are keeping me up way past my bedtime.
We're gonna keep it brief.
We're not microphone tonight.
We're not going to be rambling on 70, 80, 90 minutes. It's going to be a quickie, half an hour, 45 minutes tops. Bing, bang, boom. Get you guys some content in your hands whenever this comes out. You know, who knows? But it's currently 10:35 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, March 5th, 2025. I'm joined by ASMR Chev. Hello. Would you care to do some ASMR for us?
Yeah, hello guys.
How are you?
Hello. Sorry, I was trying to get ready for bed while we're podcasting, so I had to run back to my mic real quick.
Had to run back to his mic as he puts his jammies on.
Happy to be in the studio.
We got Rhino here, Ramadan Rhino. What's up, buddy?
Hello, guys. Hello. No, nothing really. Honestly, we had to wait 45 minutes for Chev. So I'm in a pub, but other than that, we're chilling.
Rhino, your attempts to join Grin's scythe on the down low were rebuffed, and you were publicly mocked. How do you plan to come back from this?
I didn't see the mocking, honestly. I haven't checked the channel, but that's fucking crazy.
Larkles posted that gif of Nick Young.
Oh, Nick Young
shooting the ball and then turning like he made it, and then it rims out.
All I'm saying is I can leak some DMs that can say some other things. So
I'm too many beers deep for this conversation already. We got IPA here, guys. First place in the Conquer Division IPA. You got a great squad IPA. How are you feeling?
I'm loving life. I enjoyed the 45-minute wait for Chev. Learned so many new things about Rusty and Rhino. Ramadan Rhinos. I'm ready to kick it. Let's go.
We were having some life combos, relationships, careers, life choices, living situation. We were covering it all, guys. But this isn't a life advice podcast. This is a Dota 2 podcast, Mine for the Game. We're going to be discussing topic du jour of recent Dota. We got the 7.38 patch. Ice Frog finally blessed us with the notes. Very exciting patch. There's a lot of water on the map now. We got new map changes as far as the lane layouts. A lot of cliffs were removed. The rivers all throughout the jungle now. Mid lane's got a bit more trees, a bit different vision situation. Roshan moved. Wisdom shrines are different. A lot of changes for the map. A lot of hero changes. A lot of facet updates. First impressions, guys. Are you fans of the new patch? Have you been enjoying your games? I find that the games are a lot darker. Warding is a bit more challenging, at least for team fights and stuff like that. But have you guys been enjoying the new Dota 2 The Way of Water patch?
Definitely. A huge shout out to you. The change in warding, but specifically the lack of cliff wards, I think is not an often talked subject, but I think it's actually pretty huge. And I'm really curious to see how it affects some of the specific hero matchups. Like the first one that comes to mind, a strong hero of the patch is Night Stalker, and I think like one of the strategies to play against Night Stalker in his ulti is to find a cliff, ward it so that he doesn't have like the vision advantage anymore. But that's like super hard to do now. So I like that call out.
Yeah, you're spot
That's
on
true.
with that. It is like usually you want to fight on a high ground ward, and now it's like no one really gives a shit about where the high ground wards are, so you can kind of like flank and do weird shit in team fights. And I hate it. I hate it so much. It makes it hard to play the game, but I think it's cool. I think it's like good that they added it, but I think that I just feel confused as shit when I'm playing the map now.
Yeah, certain heroes like Night Stalker definitely feel more powerful. We're seeing a lot of these vision supports that let you get the vision advantage. I'm thinking Bounty Hunter, Weaver, Ricky still popping up every now and again. Seen Spirit Breaker a little bit. Marana with the Moonlight Shadow, now that Moonlight Shadow is like the only ulti. A lot of vision setup based supports creeping their way into the meta, as well as heroes like Night Stalker, like you mentioned. So I do think innate vision is pretty important.
There's one other hero that can make your whole team invisible. You're forgetting.
Oh, are you talking about Invoker?
Yeah. The
The most OP
Invoker.
hero of the patch, Quas Invoker, of course. um, we see. I will just ask, like, Invoker. We did see a lot of changes for him. He's back to being more of a spellcaster. Your facet choice updates what spells get upgraded for Ags, Shard, stuff like that. Do you guys like the changes for Invoker? I know Chev's really the only big Invoker player. But do you guys think this is better than the previous universal right-clicking
Yeah.
version?
I think it's like way more interesting. That the hero is like way more interesting to play and think about and like theorycraft now. I hope that they make it so that the other two facets are viable, because right now it's really just like the exort big meatball scholar of I don't even know the name of it right now. But Galargon, I don't know.
The names are impossible to remember. The orange one.
Yeah, the exort one is the only playable facet, and it makes the meatball very big, especially when you get Gleipnir. Really cool, really fun hero to play. I think that there's like, I would say it's probably a little OP right now, but it's balanced out by the fact that the laning phase is literally miserable. You have like 42 base damage with stat items when you start laying, so it's like impossible to CS. Yeah, hero's good. Hero's definitely good. I think that it's just way better than last patch.
I want to see people go back to the old Invoker where you start with Blades of Attack and build phase boots. Let's bring that one back, guys.
Nope.
Let's ask Rhino. Rhino, what changes have stuck out to you as big in the patch? Do you think there's anything any tech people are sleeping on, any heroes for your role that you think are perhaps a bit underrated or overrated? Anything you think might be lingering from last patch that's still good? Want to hear your thoughts as the resident offlane player on the pod. And you don't have an 82 all team currently right now, so maybe more willing to open your heart and give your thoughts at the moment.
I think Magnus is good still. I mean, that's like all I really have played, but I mean, and Magnus is still good. I think Brood is actually pretty strong. Now it can be played in both lanes just because how big the map is. You can do some cool things with the webs. And yeah, I mean, that's really what stuck out to me. I think this Dazzle hero is like not talked about enough. I don't know really where it's supposed to be. Maybe mid, maybe offlane. We saw it played in both positions last tournament, so yeah, I think this patch is still like pretty undiscovered, to be honest. That's my take.
That's fun. What about you, IPA? You think there's any tech people are sleeping on, any heroes you think are finally in the grave after the 7.38B? We saw some. I will say real quick before you answer, I think this is one of the most significant B patches that I can remember, as far as like actually significantly nerfing the most OP heroes. Like I feel like this was more than the usual slap on the wrist we're used to seeing. But give me your thoughts.
I think the biggest difference between this and other patches is it was almost exclusively nerfs. Because as someone who's been playing Dota for a long, long time, the power creep in this game, and it happens in pretty much every game, is pretty wild. Like if you look at how relatively strong heroes were, and even back to Dota 1, it's pretty much a joke. With supports having like 1200 HP at minute 10 nowadays.
Right.
But yeah, I love that approach. I think the nerf the OP heroes is great. I don't think they killed a lot of the OP heroes, which is probably a testament to balance. But I would have done some of the balancing a little bit differently. And I wonder, like, a great hero to point out is, I think one of the winners of the patch is Abaddon. And he was strong before, and I don't really think they nerfed core Abaddon that much. And I think that it's been a hero that hasn't really seen the pro scene as, we've seen it be very successful in pubs, even pro level pubs. And so this is the first time he's really been on the pro scene in a while. I'm just curious if they're balancing specifically for the pro scene with something like that. Usually they take kind of more a nuanced approach where they're okay to kill a hero in the pro scene to make sure that doesn't grief low level pubs. So yeah, I don't see a slept on tech. I don't know. I played Necro Position 1 last night. That shit was pretty good.
I think Necro's actually a viable hero now, honestly.
No way that's tech. There's a 0% chance that that's tech.
I think it's tech.
I want you to watch the game. They had 5 heroes versus me. They wiped my entire team and they were running away. This is not a joke.
Alchemist Ags Factory, guys. Should I do it in 80-12?
They nerfed it.
I know, it's such a bummer. But it's still, you get a lot of money. I actually did it. I actually tried it out in a random unranked 5 stack and donated 4 Ags. It's pretty fun. Your money is ticking like a lot. It's very enjoyable. Very enjoyable. But yeah, we got a lot of facet updates in addition to all the map changes. We got Glimmer finally nerfed. You guys think this is enough to stop people from buying it on carries and mids?
Yeah, I think we already started to see it fall off a little bit. I think that it's going to be exclusively a support item now, but I think it's still a good support item for sure.
I think so too.
Invis OP.
We did. So we saw a radical overhaul of the neutral items. Are you guys a fan of the new system? Would you tweak anything with the new system of neutral crafting?
Yes.
Yeah, I'd tweak it, but I just hate it. I hate it.
Really?
Yeah.
Seems harsh. Why? What do you hate about it?
I hate that it's just like more steps than it was last patch. Like, it's not that serious. You get an item, you pick it, it's for free. Like, it's okay if sometimes you get a Grove Bow and you're a melee hero, but it's your best choice and it doesn't work out like perfectly. I think it's fine. I think that like them bringing this weird, I don't know, just like it just feels like it's too, like all items are not that strong. Like they're way less strong than they used to be for sure. And it feels like but they tried to make it so that you could kind of like have something more ideal, which I liked how it was before. I don't know. It felt easier. It felt like I like the luck based, like, oh nice, I'm playing Drow and I get a Grove Bow. Sweet. Versus like you don't get a Grove Bow, it's like, all right, GG. I don't know. Maybe it's a weird take, but just not a fan. I feel like if they were gonna add crafting, they could have made it a lot cooler also. Like maybe you had to find resources on the map and then craft with that. And like you want to get a specific type of resource to craft like HP items.
Killing neutrals perhaps gives you a resource that you can then turn into the item?
No, like certain neutrals give certain like let's say you want strength, like you want brawny as your enchantment and you have to kill ogre bruisers or something. Like make it at least like engaging rather than just like now you pick 2 different things, but we're gonna call it crafting. Even though it doesn't remind me of actual crafting, you know?
Thank God my pubs do not involve me telling my fucking pub teammates, don't kill those ogres, please, I need them, because that sounds horrible.
True. Actually,
Oh my
I will
God.
say I kind of like how they are now. And I think they made it a bit tougher to just strictly keep your old neutral. Like I think one of the goals of this was like keep people progressing and going to the next tier, which you still have the option to keep the previous tier neutral, but you got to upgrade your enchantment. So I actually like that from a balance perspective. I like they removed some of the more bullshit ones, honestly. So I'm pretty happy. Gale Guard was pretty annoying. Also, I do like that it's like automatically in my inventory and don't have to do a courier nonsense. What about you, IPA? What were you gonna say?
Yeah, I really enjoy the system. I just don't like how they did it. Specifically, I actually think the balance of the neutral items is much worse now. Mainly because a lot of the enchantments, there is one probably that is way better for the game that you have. And if you don't roll that one and your opponent does, I think it's actually a big deal. Like if you're a physical damage carry and you get like the Philosopher's Stone version, the mana regen version, and like some other random one that sucks, you're
Well,
just
mana
like
regen's
pigeonholed.
sick.
I mean, it depends on the hero, right? If you already have an Echo Saber or some shit and you don't have mana problems, then you probably don't want that one.
Yeah, that's true.
Unless you need the magic resist. And I feel like the option to craft and choose actually is really cool and I appreciate it. I just don't like I feel like the imbalance via RNG is too much at the moment.
I feel like it's rare you get a quote unquote bad enchantment though. Like they're generic enough that I think there's almost always one that you're not upset to take.
All right, let me
Enchantments
give
are
you an
good. The other
example.
ones suck. Like the actual item itself, like those are all super weak compared to what they used to be.
Except for some. So like here's an example, right? Two carries. One of them gets Spark of Courage and attack speed. The other person doesn't get offered either one. Maybe they get the 5 damage. Like I think that's a big deal for farming pace between the two
10
different
attack speed
carries.
is definitely a lot better than 5 damage.
That's what I'm saying, right? And then like Spark of Courage, like giving 10 damage for free, that's crazy. Compared to like maybe you're getting like Brawny and 5 damage, or Brawny and pig pull, you know.
Pig pull. We love a pig pull.
Actually,
Rhino,
here,
what about you, my friend? What are you
Rhino,
crafting up over
yeah,
there?
ask him
What are
what
you
he's got
crafting
right
up in
now.
that? What you got right now in that pub? What you crafting?
All right, guys. We are currently on a Weaver. We have a Brigand's Blade, pretty good item, and Vast.
Oh, vast. What is that?
That is the attack range.
Attack range. Yeah, that's right. That's
Pretty
right.
good.
Yeah, Weaver gets attack range from his innate too. Pretty cool. Big
Cool
Weaver
hero.
enjoyer here.
Yeah, me too.
So, this brings up an interesting topic, guys, because we're right in the midst of an 82L season. We have had patches. We had one yesterday. Games are tomorrow. We had another 2 days before, a couple weeks back, which was like huge patch. I want to ask you guys, when a big patch like this comes out, I'll ask. I actually think there's two different approaches too, because there's like when there's a big patch like 7.38 where there's a ton of changes and basically an entire overhaul to Dota itself. And then there's a patch like 7.38b where it's mostly nerfs, but there are, significant hero changes within that. I want to ask you guys, how do you normally approach when the game is changing so much and you have only limited time to prepare for your next 80-12 match? So, like for me, I'll say I think it's easy for people to see all these new changes in Theorycraft and think, oh, this looks so cool. I want to try this. I want to try that. I think this hero is really strong now in like sort of Theorycraft, and can be easy to get kind of lost in the sauce, and maybe you end up with some really weird picks. I'm wondering if you guys have anything specific you tend to keep in mind when there's a new patch to sort of keep your team on a good path as you reckon with all these different changes. Let's start with IPA.
Every single one of my teams, I try to make a think tank, where we're all looking at the patch notes at the same time, except for Fatality, because he's never read a patch in his entire life.
That's actually crazy, by the way. Just
That's
side
awesome.
note.
Swear to God,
Respect.
every season he loads it like this. We were playing a pub, and he was playing Mirana, and he's like, "What does my leap do now? What is my shard?" And he just relies on us to tell him what has actually changed in the patch. And these
Did
big
he have the
patches, it
leap?
changes a lot.
The leap facet?
No, he went the Starfall facet at least because he follows the pro scene.
Gotcha. Okay.
So like at least he looks like Dota Pro Tracker probably. But for the most part, we're all contributing like our reads on the patch notes. And like I'll cop to it. I think that there are a few YouTubers and pros that following their patch breakdowns is incredibly helpful to give you an idea of what other people are thinking, so that when you start experimenting, you can hopefully go down either the pathways of things that you felt were strong or what they felt were strong. Ideally, you get a scrim in, but for us, it's just trying to play pubs together, try some shit. And if your heroes you're already comfortable on have high win rates, those automatically become prio picks in my mind.
Gotcha. Very interesting. What about you, Chev? Do you have anything in particular? You've been a captain many times in the past.
Yeah.
What's your approach?
So this might shock you guys. Those of you who know me, but I use dotabuff.com. I go to trends. I sort by highest win rate trend. I pick those heroes. I go to Dota 2 Pro Tracker. I filter by the patch. I sort by win rate and pick rate. I pick those heroes. That's it. I'm a bot. I prefer not to think for myself and let the smart people figure it out. Pick those heroes. Profit.
I am a bot. You heard it here first.
I actually
guys.
think that is exactly how we won a game against Core's team in Conqueror a few seasons ago when 7.3, I don't know, I want to say it was like 7.33 came out, or maybe it was 3.5, I don't know. It was like the super broken Leshrac patch when it was released with the first Bloodstone, when Bloodstone became AoE increase, and it was like insanely busted. I saw Leshrac went up like 8% win points in like one day after the patch was released. We like 15 picked Leshrac, and it was like unkillable hero. So that's how I do it. Those are my secrets. Don't use my own brain because my brain sucks and it's 5 Camomar.
Probably less. Be honest.
Yeah, a little less. Actually, right now, let's see. 49, 32.
I love being able to flex it on the highest MMR on the pod. It feels good.
Oh yeah, baby.
Boosted.
Rhino boosted. Guys,
He's a solo
queue gamer, guys. Rhino, you're known as an experimental gamer. A lot of experimental picks. 2 questions. 1, would you wish to defend your lack of metamorphosis on Terrorblade offlane?
Fuck
And
you.
2, what about you? Like when a new patch comes out for 82L or any league, would you say you're more likely or less likely to try some more like experimental type of picks for yourself or for your team? Or are you more, well, okay, a lot's changing, maybe we should stick to something a bit more conventional? Like what? Where do you fall on that line?
Let me give the audience some context. This guy took fucking Metamorphosis Terrorblade offlane at level 11 in my pub. Level 11. I saw that. I bought a Midas. I jungled.
Did we win, Chev?
Yeah, we got carried by Blunted.
No, I sundered Blunted to win us the game. Come on.
Alright, that's a resolution.
Nah, realistically,
I'm sure it mattered a lot in that 25-minute stomp.
Realistically, I don't really give a fuck about what other people have to say about the patch. It's more just about comfort. I've always been a comfort player. So like through even like the hardest patches of like even like bad heroes and like how I captain teams, it's just comfort over meta. And then like if we're just getting beat on our comfort, then we try to learn meta. It usually happens way too late though. But yeah, no, I would just say comfort over meta. And then in terms of my skill builds and things of that nature, it's really just how I'm feeling about the game. And go off feel and shit. I'd probably look at that Dota Pro Tracker shit way less than anyone here, because I don't know. I feel like Dota's such a feel game. It's like hard for me to have the same feel on a hero that Collapse has, or like any other good like god tier player. You know, not to compare myself to Collapse, but like if that's what you guys are doing, you might as well like compare yourself to the best players in the game and try to copy what they're doing. But sometimes it's like, I don't know, it's harder to like get their feel for the game. You know, these guys are like 40 trillion times better than I am. So like it's hard for me to really get on their wavelength. So I just like to stay on mine, not go too crazy, and play a lot of Dota. So slowly you just start to get really comfortable. But yeah, in
That's
terms
why
of
you copied his famous no metamorphosis build, right?
that is true. That is true. I saw it once and I did it.
Well, I will say this. I told my team a couple weeks back, I didn't want us to get too lost in the sauce. We played a scrim, and we really tried like a lot of random new stuff, and it didn't go like great in particular. So for me,
Which one?
I feel like this was like a few weeks back when they changed, like when PL was like
Oh yeah.
broken
That was
with
the day
Rev
after the
Brute and
patch.
stuff like that. It might have been even day of. I
Yeah,
think
day
we
of the
were like
patch, day of the
reading it.
patch.
But I think a good thing to identify for captains and for teams is like which of my comfort picks, like Rhino was saying, which of my comfort picks are buffed. So like something I'm already good on that I think might be moving up into that upper echelon. Like for me, I was taking a look. Jakiro's a big comfort pick for me, so alarm bells started to sort of get set off. For me, when I saw these Jakiro changes and this new facet for him that I thought sounded really strong. Same for Crystal Maiden. I think her new facets, the shield one in particular, really cool. So just going back to my existing comfort and my team's comfort and sort of thinking, because it's easy to get lost and be like, oh, I think this hero's meta now and blah, blah, blah. We should try this with this. And then you end up with kind of a random hodgepodge. But if you stick to what you know and what you suspect might be good, hard to say, but usually can end up with some, better lineups that way, I'd say. When a B patch like this comes out, do you guys kind of do you look at trends as far as like looking at Dota buff, looking at Dota Pro Tracker, like we see DK got nerfed, Abaddon nerfed, Tiny nerfed. Do you guys check out the trends to see like how big of an impact these things were? Or you say it's more like a feel thing, like you see Lifestealer got these nerfs and it looks pretty impactful, but maybe it didn't impact his overall scope. Like, do you guys go out and do the research, or do you like kind of just feel it out?
Do you want to go first?
Oh, you can go.
So like B patch, like I immediately did a whole write up on my opinion of the patch as soon as it came out. Like I was at work or doing something. Basically listed the heroes we're already planning on picking. So like, because in 82L, like I think this is where being in a league is a little bit different than the people who are just pubbing for MMR. Is 82L, I'd already done some scouting. I'd already had somewhat of a framework of a game plan together, and so when the patch came out, my immediate reaction is, all right, how does this affect the already pre-established game plan? Like, do I still think the heroes that were good against Savage Spirits are still going to be good against them? Did they get nerfed? If so, how hard did they get nerfed? Hey, we were about to first phase ban this hero because it's fucking crazy right now. This nerf looks hard enough to not do it anymore. So that's like my first approach. I lay it out for my team and say, hey, what are you guys seeing? Because this is how I'm reading it. This is how I'm planning on to change our bans, and this is what I'm planning to pick instead. And just kind of get the team's vibe on whether they're agreeing with me or seeing it differently.
You should still be first phase banning Abaddon. Just a heads up, if that's what the hero you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, so like that's a great example. I think Rusty's call on Lifestealer is a good one, which was getting first phase banned in a lot of the tournament. I think Tiny and Lifestealer are two of the ones, in my opinion, that were hit the hardest, but are still playable. So I'm very curious to see how they're actually affected by win rate. But I think they're definitely pickable, but also definitely worse.
Well, I don't think Lifestealer is a hero that you should be able to 8-pick. Like, maybe, I don't know. That just
Yeah,
seems
I agree.
wrong to me as someone who's played Dota for a long time. Abaddon kind of makes more sense to me, at least in the sense that he's on paper flexible, can be a support, can be a core. Like you said, I think the support version of Abaddon was actually nerfed. It seems like they're trying to nudge him more to being like an offlane hero versus being a support hero. Because a lot of the aspects that were nerfed to him were the Ags, the miscoil, his miscoil oriented talents and whatnot. It wasn't as much the passive. And the shield was nerfed a bit too, but less consequential for support when you're actually using up the shield and getting farm with it. So I feel like they're nudging him to being a core. But yeah, I'm not sure about. I definitely don't think Lifestealer, DK, Tiny are necessarily like first phase ban heroes anymore. So interesting to consider for the matches that are coming up tomorrow. Updating the bans is definitely a thing because I think in Champ this season we've seen last week there was a lot of just meta bans being thrown out and a lot of people spamming these cringe carry picks, ABBAs, these tinies, etc. And so I'm excited to see how things might shift a bit. I think the generic heroes like Jakiro, even though I think Jakiro's nerfed pretty significantly, I think those kinds of heroes are still going to be popular. I think Warlock's still really good. So we'll kind of see how everything shakes out, but do you guys normally do like a patch review with your team? You like to sit down with the boys, read all the notes? Or are you more of a solitary take it all in and then let your team know your thoughts after the fact kind of guy?
Yeah, I mean, ours is through text. I mean, we'll talk about it if we're pubbing together or something, but it just happens in the text channels of Discord. And I think that's mostly just because we're trying to read patch notes and live our lives at the same time. It's not always easy to hop in Discord right as it pops off.
Right. Scrimming right after patch, did you have fun, Chev?
No, I felt like confused and lost in those games. I feel like
Yeah, that's pretty
I
true,
don't
actually.
know. I feel like scrimming after a patch, I'm not gonna lie, is usually a waste of time because you're all just like super confused. I feel like it's better to just pub, honestly. I love the pubs after the patch. That's actually my favorite time to pub is like right after patch.
Yeah, those are generally quite fun. Well, it is late, guys. We've waited for Chev as he tucked his tail between his legs and slowly made his way to us. Do you guys have any additional final thoughts on Dota? Patch updates, adapting for 82L, or even just 82L this season in general. This season's kind of unique where I think we are seeing like a big meta shift in the middle of regular season, which normally I feel like it happens like pre-season or pre-playoffs. If there's ever a big patch. So this has been kind of fun watching people figure it out in important games. But do any of
I
you
got
guys
one.
have any additional thoughts? Yeah, let me hear it.
Yeah, so I think one of the biggest changes of this patch was the change to Roshan and Tormentor. So yeah, like map changes were talked about earlier, but obviously with Chev, you and Rusty being on the same team, you guys are getting a lot of the same thoughts and approaches to it. But how have you guys approached Tormentor and Roche? Have you ever had like a game in Champ where you traded Tormentor for Roche, or have you, which is kind of how I think they intended to set it up, is like they're both objectives worth going to, and if you go to one, it's going to be hard to go to the other one on the opposite side of the map. But I haven't seen it play out in my games. What has your guys' approach been, and like what have you seen play out in the actual games?
For
I think
Tormentor?
everybody goes for Tormentor like a monkey, and you have to full monkey it.
Are you talking
'Cause it's
about
really good.
pubs or comp?
Talking about
For
like
82.
the family. Yeah, what's the
Oh,
family
okay.
been doing?
Yeah, so I think that sometimes, I think now, I think there's a lot of times when Tormentor is just not feasible. And it's like you try to force it too much because everyone says it's really important. And obviously it was like really the most important objective last patch. And I think we like tried to like force it too many times. I think it's pretty common. But now I think, and I heard some other streamers say this during the B patch stream. I think it's like going to be more dependent on if your team has really good shards. It was like a speed Dota video I watched. He's like, if your team has really good shards, you should still do it and rush it. But if you don't have the best shards, then and you don't have the best heroes to take it, then maybe it's a waste of time. Like, don't gun for it. But I actually have my own opinion is that I think it's going to be more of a 18 to 20 minute timing, like maybe even depending on the team comp and the state of the game, it might even be an objective that happens at Dire safe lane instead of Radiant safe lane. The fights for it, just because the nerfs are so strong and the fact that it's stronger now, it might be harder to do earlier. It was already kind of hard to do without your whole team. So I think the change is good. I like that it's more situational, not a like, okay, get here at 15 minutes, and if you can't fight and then take the Tormentor, you kind of lose the game, or the game is really hard. So I think that the nerf to it is good. I think that I love Roshan now. I think Roshan being in the middle is fucking awesome. I think that like it's way more dynamic to set up there. The ward spots are way cooler. There's a lot more you can do. So that's pretty cool. Like Roshan, awesome. Tormentor in pubs is miserable because nobody ever moves to do it. My core players are fucking brain dead. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's cool. I think the objectives are cool, and the family's approach to it, we haven't really seen yet because we haven't played together in a B patch too much. So time will tell.
This was in the original.
I agree with Chev.
too.
If your supports are like Bad Rider and Muerta, it's probably like no big deal to let enemy take
Yeah.
Tormentor. Roche, it feels like I don't know when to go Roche always now. And I think it's just harder to snowball with Roche because it's riskier to take it in general. And like the wards for setting up around Roche are really obvious, so enemies can get some easy D wards.
I don't think
so I don't know,
obvious. I think that there's like some sneaky ones you can do.
Yeah, I mean there probably are some sneaky ones you can do that I'm like not fully attuned to yet, but a lot of the generic ones people will place like in the enemy triangle or in their jungle are pretty, just the ones that give you the most vision are pretty obvious. So I'm kind of still figuring that aspect out, but yeah, I've enjoyed the Roche and Tormentor changes. I think they're overall better for the Dota ecosystem. So been having fun with that.
Awesome.
Well, IPA, do you have any final parting thoughts here before we wrap up this little mini episode of mftg?
Yeah, I just I want to say, Rhino, I hope you're doing okay. I hope that pub wasn't too tough on you. Since you just
Rhino did dip
randomly
out, guys.
Did he leave?
Casual dip out. Little Irish goodbye for the podcast.
He didn't even text us goodbye. He just heart reacted to our message.
Oh,
and
he did. He
dipped.
said, no,
did.
he said, I'm going to sleep. GN.
Dude, he should
And respect
everyone just heart
for his
react.
ability to go to sleep so fast.
Everyone heart react to him and then block him.
I will hard react and block that as one is customary to do. Well, guys, it's been another fine episode of mftg. You know, I know this is a shorter episode, but to be honest, getting people together for this podcast lately has been like herding cats, which, as the metaphor goes, is a difficult task to do. It's been very difficult, but I'm glad we got everyone together for a little 45-minute powwow tonight to
We'll do
talk
better
about some
next
fun
time.
topics. And we will be back. I think we'll have to do like a playoff preview kind of pod.
Yeah.
When the playoff matchups are set. So probably keep your eyes out for a pre 80-12 playoff pod. Me, Chev, and IPA are still here. Rhino dipped. But us first placers in 80-12 are still here. So
We're
let's
too
keep
busy
that
being
good
in
energy
first.
going.
Too busy being in first place. Can't.
Too busy, guys.
Send donations to Chev's the knot so that he doesn't have to keep working the second job and we can do more podcasts. Thank you.
Yeah,
No,
guys,
bro,
we're
I'm
gonna
on
post a
Zola.
GoFundMe for Chev's wedding so that we can make more podcast episodes.
I'm on Zola, guys, not the knot.
Anyways, it's been a great time with you all. I need to go to bed now. Let's keep those good vibes, good energy going. Let's try to secure these 1 seeds for playoffs. Big shout out to the North American Partnership. Big shout out to the family. Shout out to Rhino. If anyone out there is fasting for Ramadan, big shout out to you. Hope it's going well. And inshallah, Eid Mubarak.
That's getting cut.
Good night. Definitely cut that.